Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava Metzia, page 41. A, top of the page, with the words Tzarich Da'as Bali. One requires the knowledge of the owner for the item to be considered returned. The Gemara asks if the Braita is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yishmael. Why did the Tana in the first clause of the Mishnah establish the case specifically where the owner did not designate a specific place for the barrel to be stored in the bailey's house? Even in a case where the owner designated a place for the barrel, the bailey should be exempt because he replaced the barrel. The Gemara answers the Tana is speaking, utilizing the style, it is not necessary. It is not necessary to state the halacha in a case where the owners designated a place for the barrel, as after the bailey replaced the barrel, that is its place. But even in a case where the owner did not designate a place for the barrel, and after the bailey replaces the barrel that is not in its place, we do not require the knowledge of the owners. In both cases, once he replaces the barrel, he is exempt from payment. The Gemara asks, say the latter clause of the Mishnah. If the owners designated a specific place for the barrel, and the bailey moved it and it broke, whether it broke while still in his hand, or whether it broke after he replaced the barrel, if he moved it for his purposes, he is liable to pay, and if he moved it for its own purposes, he is exempt. We arrive at the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, who says we require the knowledge of the owners. Since the bailey moved the barrel from its place for his own purposes, he is a robber and is responsible for damages. The Gemara asks, if the Braita is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, why did the Tana in the latter clause of the Mishnah establish the case specifically where the owner designated a particular place for the barrel to be stored in the bailey's house? Even in a case where the owner did not designate a place for the barrel, the bailey should be liable to pay because the barrel is not considered to have been returned. The Gemara answers, the Tana is speaking, utilizing the style, it is not necessary. It is not necessary to state the halacha in a case where the owners did not designate a place for the barrel, as the place that the bailey placed the barrel is not its place. But even in a case where the owner designated a place for the barrel, where the place that the bailey placed the barrel is its place, we require the knowledge of the owners for it to be considered as if the bailey returned the barrel. The Gemara asks, the result of that explanation is the first clause of the Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yishmael, and the latter clause is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. The Gemara answers, indeed, it is as Rabbi Yochanan says. Anyone who explains to me both clauses of the Mishnah with regard to a barrel, according to the opinion of one Tana, I will honor and carry his garments after him to the bathhouse, and treat him as a servant treats his master. But this is what I mean by random statements. It's like every once in a while you'll have some random statement. Anyone who explains both clauses, I'll carry his houses to the bathhouse. I mean, you don't see this so often. Why are you seeing it here and now? The Gemara relates that Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba interpreted the Mishnah before Rav. The Mishnah is referring to a case where the Bailey took the barrel in order to rob the owner of it. And that is the meaning of the term, for his purposes. Since he intended to rob the owner of the barrel, he must return it to its place. In the first clause of the Mishnah, where the owner of the barrel did not designate a place for it, anywhere that he places it constitutes a return to its place. In the latter clause of the Mishnah, where the owner designated a place for the barrel, since the Bailey did not return the barrel to that place, it is not considered to have been returned. Rabbi Nathan bar Abba interpreted the Mishnah before Rav. The Mishnah is referring to a case where the Bailey took the barrel in order to misappropriate it, as one who misappropriates the property of another is responsible for any subsequent damage to it. The Gemara asks, with regard to what do Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Natan disagree? The Gemara answers is with regard to whether misappropriation requires loss. Is one liable for misappropriation only if it results in depreciation of the deposit, or is one liable for misappropriation even if he only intended to damage the deposit, but there was no depreciation? The one who says that the Bailey took the barrel in order to rob the owner of it holds that misappropriation requires loss, and the one who says that the Bailey took the barrel in order to misappropriate it holds that misappropriation does not require loss. Rav Sheshet objects to that explanation. Does the Tana teach the Bailey took it? It is taught in the Mishnah the Bailey moved it, indicating that he sought neither to misappropriate it nor to rob the owner of it. Rather, Rav Sheshet said, with what are we dealing here? We are dealing with a case where the Bailey moved the barrel to stand upon it and bring fledglings from a nest in a tree. The Bailey did not attempt to use its contents. He merely climbed on the barrel. At the time of the Mishnah holds, the legal status of one who borrows without the knowledge of the owners is that of a robber in terms of responsibility, and the entire Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yishmael. And the latter clause is referring to a case where the Bailey is responsible because he placed the barrel in a place that is not its designated place. The Gemara asks, and why doesn't Rabbi Yochanan, who claimed that it is not possible to establish both clauses of the Mishnah in accordance with the opinion of the same Tana, explain that the Mishnah in that manner, he holds that the term he placed it indicates that he replaced it in its designated place. Therefore, the latter clause could not be explained in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yishmael, and the contradiction remains. It was stated that there was an Amoraic dispute between Rav and Levi. One says misappropriation requires loss, and one says misappropriation does not require loss. The Gemara comments it may be concluded that it is Rav who says misappropriation does not require loss, as it is taught in the Braita. In the case of a shepherd who was herding his flock, which included the animals of others, and he abandoned his flock and went to the city, and a wolf came and devoured an animal, and a lion came and clawed an animal. The shepherd is exempt, as in any case. The attacks occurred through circumstances beyond his control. If he placed his staff and his satchel on the animal that was later attacked, he is liable to pay for the animal. Since he utilized the animal, it is as if he misappropriated it, and therefore he is liable to pay, even in the case involving circumstances beyond his control. And we discussed this brisa. Due to the fact that he placed his staff and his satchel on the animal. Is he liable to pay? Didn't he already remove them? Even if he improperly used the animal, he already removed his staff and his satchel and is tantamount to returning it to the owners. Rav Nachman says that Rabbah bar Avu said that Rav said The Tana is referring to a case where the wolf devoured the animal when the staff and satchel were still on the animal. Since the Bailey is still using the animal, it is considered, in its terms of liability, to pay for the damage caused. The Gemara asks, and if the staff and satchel are still on the animal, what of it? But did he not pull the animal and therefore did not acquire it? Rav Shmuel Bar Yitzchak says that Rav says the Tana is referring to a case where the shepherd struck the animal with his staff and it ran before him, which is a form of pulling. The Gemara asks, but by causing the animal to run, he did not cause a loss to the animal. Why is he liable to pay? Rather, one must not conclude from it that Rav holds misappropriation does not require loss. The Gemara rejects that proof. Say that he weakened the animal with his staff, and that is the only reason that he's liable to pay. The Gemara comments, Rav's language is also precise, as he teaches, where the shepherd struck the animal with a staff. The reason that he explains that he struck the animal with a staff as opposed to his hand is to indicate that the animal was weakened. The Gemara affirms, learn from it, that Rav holds that misappropriation requires loss. The Gemara comments, and from the fact that Rav holds that misappropriation requires loss, it may be inferred that Levi holds that misappropriation does not require loss. The Gemara asks, what is the reason for the opinion of Levi? Rabbi Yochanan says, in the name of Rabbi Yossi ben Nehorai, misappropriation that is stated with regard to a paid bailee is different from misappropriation that is stated with regard to an unpaid bailee. There is no need for the Torah to state the halacha of misappropriation twice. If an unpaid bailee is liable to pay for misappropriation, all the more so is a paid bailee liable to pay. The reason that the Torah repeats halacha is to teach that a paid bailee is liable to pay for misappropriation even if there is no loss.